Hello, in this video we are going to look at Strands Agents. We'll see how to integrate Strands Agents with the Gemini LLM. First we need to go to the Google AI Studio and we can get an API key to interact with Gemini. I've already created an API key and I can just copy it from here. So the API key that I have copied should be added to .env file, so I can just show you that. So the name of the variable is going to be Gemini underscore API underscore key, and you can put the value as shown here. Now close this file. Now let's begin coding. Before that, let's create a virtual environment using Python. Python -m venv.venv. So this is going to create a virtual environment for us. Okay, I have Python 3 on my system, so let me just use 3. I don't have the alias yet. Okay, so the virtual environment is created. We can now go ahead and activate it. Source.venv bin activate. So the virtual environment is now activated. We can start coding. Let's create the file. So I'm going to name it Strands with Gemini.py. Okay, so first we need to install the Strands Agents, for which we can use the requirements.txt and we can install the packages from there. So let's first create that. Cursor requirements.txt. I'm using the cursor editor here, but you can use anything you want. So let's modify the requirements.txt file. I'm going to put Strands Agents. If you want to specifically choose a version, you can also do so, but for now it's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and install this. Pip install -r requirements.txt. Okay, so Strands Agents is now installed. We can go to the code. Let's try to import that from Strands import agent. So we'll be using agent from the Strands library. So let's try to import this and see if this works. Let's just try to run this code. Python strands with Gemini.py. Okay, so there's no error, which means it's working. In order to interact with Gemini, we will be using the LiteLLMModel interface, for which we'll have to import that first. So from strands.models.litellm, we're going to import LiteLLMModel. Okay. Let's again try to run the code and see if there is no error in importing. Okay, so there's a problem there, right? It says the module lite-llm is not found, for which we need to slightly modify the requirements.txt. I'm just going to come here and I'll be putting a square bracket and I'll just call this module lite-llm, so that that extra module will also get installed. Save this and install it again. We can now try to run the code again and see if there is no error. I think there's a typo. Let me just correct that. So LiteLLMModel. Okay, so there are two M's here. Okay, fine. It is now okay. So we have imported the agent and we have also imported the LiteLLMModel interface. So now we just need to create a connection to the model, right? For which we can just call the model. So I'm just going to assign a variable model is equal to LiteLLMModel. Okay, and then I can say the model ID I want. In this case, I'm going to use the Gemini 2.5 Flash. So model ID is going to be, you need to put Gemini first, followed by the slash, and then you can put Gemini -2.5 -Flash. and after that you can put the parameters also if required. So I'm just going to put two parameters. So the first one is going to be max tokens, and we can choose something like maybe 5000 for now, and then the temperature. I'm just going to put 0.0 here. Alright, so the model is all set. We can just try to run the code again and see there's no error. Seems good. Now we can wrap the model inside the agent, for which we can create the agent like agent is equal to capital A agent, and then we just need to call the model. So model is equal to model. Okay, let's try running again and see if there is no error. Okay, seems good so far. We can now invoke the agent and maybe send a prompt through that, for which I just say result is equal to agent followed by the prompt in brackets. So I'm just going to say tell me about yourself. Let's try running this now. Okay, this seems to work, right? So we're getting some result in markdown format. So it is going to say something like what it is. I'm a large language model trained by Google, and then all of this, right? Followed by some text. Okay, seems good. So we're able to run a prompt with the agent, and we have wrapped the model inside the agent, and we're able to get some response back. Now let's try to do a couple of more things. So we have this result, and we should be able to get the number of tokens used for this particular prompt using the metrics attribute. So I'm just going to say print result dot metrics followed by get summary. And then I have a key called accumulated usage. So let's try to print this here. So before that, let's put some lines so that we are able to differentiate it in the print. So print hyphen multiplied by 100. So this is going to print a line, and if required, we can also print the same after printing the accumulated usage. Okay, let's try it now. So it says that the input tokens used is 5, output tokens is 1043, and in total we have got 104, right, which is the sum of input tokens and output tokens. Let's try one more thing. Let's also try to add logging to this. So let's import the logging library here. Okay, and then we need to set the logging by calling logging dot get logger. The name is going to be strands, and then we need to set the level. So in this case, I'm going to set logging dot debug, so we are also able to see some debug logs. And now let's also put some basic config for this logging by calling logging dot basic config. In brackets, we're going to say the format is equal to percentage. First we can put the level name, which says if it is info, debug, etc., followed by S for string, and then put a pipe sign, and then you can put the name, which is nothing but the name of the module, and S for string, and put one more pipe and put the message percentage message followed by yes. So we have put the format here. Now let's try to run it again and see what happens. I'll also maximize the screen. There is an error, let's correct that. So there's a typo here, format. Okay, now we are also able to see some automatically generated logs from the strands library. It's going to put the log level followed by the module followed by the message. So by looking at the messages, we come to know that the config of the model is going to be model ID is this, parameters whatever we passed, it's there. And then we are also able to see the text that was used as a prompt here, right? So tell me about yourself. So logging will be useful. In specific, we can use debug logs while we want to debug something, but in most cases the info log should be enough. If you don't want to really put too many logs into your application, you can always change that. Let's try to change it here. I'm just going to say logging.info here, and if I run it again, I'll not be able to see the debug logs. This seems good. We only get the info log here, and then we are seeing the result for the prompt that was invoked through the agent. All good so far. Okay, that's it for this video. So we were able to see how to use the Strands agents with the Gemini API, and we were able to send a prompt to get the response back. We also did a couple of more things like seeing the metadata, the response, like how many tokens it took, and we were also able to set up logging. So most of the preliminary things were done. Hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.